Hey. Hey. Whiskey. Hey. What? How's it going, everyone? Whiskey and I freezing our ass off today. A little bit sick. How can you prevent that, huh? Of course, I mean, the worst thing you can do in this cold weather is go outside with wet hair. Today, my hair is not wet, right? Last few days, you know, but what can you do? It takes all day for this shit to dry as long and thick as it is. You know, some people who pay attention long enough understand. I don't purposely choose this long hair. Once upon a time I did. Just can't go get. I've had a few times people offer to cut my hair, but the only problem is, you know, I'm not letting people do stuff for free, right? One, but even then you got to keep up on it, right? So what's the use? I don't want to cut it all down and then have to go through the stage again, you know, so I'll just keep it going until whatever. Anyways, talk about some corruption stuff. Today I want to point out a few things that people just don't understand of what's going on with the law. Anyone just tuning in, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, especially if you find anything interesting, and it helps very much. We need your support. And, you know, so we're going to discuss a few things about the law that people just don't understand as it pertains to what's going on with me. I mean, there's all kinds of different realities out there, things that happen with people that, you know, and I try to focus all of it, you know, the violations and the corruption and the anti-constitutional members of government that we have. None of them even understand the Constitution anymore. And the fact of the matter is that the Constitution has become irrelevant. And that's because we, the people, refuse to take the power into our hands, to understand that we are the ones with the power and authority. But because of that, they keep trampling over us. So anyways, you know, Whiskey and I, Whiskey's my dog, for those who don't know. Best buddy in the world, right? We are, and I mean no offense to my good friends out there either, you know, anyone watching. I'm fortunate enough to have a couple of really good friends, and, you know, that's nice. And fortunate enough to have you guys as my subscribers. But anyways, let's get to it. The law, right? I want to understand something. Douglas Engle is the sheriff in Defiance County. Re-elected because there was no choice. And Douglas Engle is illegitimate. He has no right being sheriff. He don't understand what it takes to be sheriff. We're also going to talk about this judge. You know, all the judges here in town, I suppose. But there's one in particular that we're going to discuss. Judge Smink in Defiance County. You know what? You're on my radar now, bro, because I tried not to. When I first come out with my stuff, I was calling out the judge that was immediately acting against me, which was Judge Roars, who's now retired, you know, and you don't hear one thing from the Supreme Court about their investigation. So, you know, we have, you know, as anyone that's paid attention already, they've seen that I was saying, hey, write me in, vote for me as sheriff, right? Technically, that's your right, but Ohio comes up with these rules. More importantly, Defiance, Ohio comes up with these rules to try to tell you all this nonsense, okay? Well, you have to have, you're disqualified because you didn't sign up in time to be a write-in vote. What? That's not how write-ins work, okay? And then, now we have sheriffs just sitting here hanging out at the courthouse when they're not open. What car is this? Is it Doug Eagle coming to find me? You ready yet? I'm ready for you. Are you ready for me? know, this is all the nonsense that our tax dollars are paying for. R20. Yeah, they're not open today, see? Come on. You know, so we have Douglas Ingle. You can't, you know, they come up with this shit. You got to have this state required training, law enforcement training, in order to run for sheriff. They act like that's the important rule, when what's missing from there is understanding the Constitution. And that's law. That's required of every county across America. A sheriff takes an oath to the Constitution. It is his job to understand the Constitution. It is not his job to follow court orders. It is not his job to follow lawyer orders. It's not his job to follow anything other than the Constitution. Okay, when something conflicts with the Constitution, it is his job to override it and do what is constitutionally correct. But the ignorant ass don't understand a damn thing about the Constitution, even though he's been in law enforcement most of his life. He's made a career out of being a corrupt deputy on up to now sheriff, right? They violate our rights every damn day. So but people see my videos and they start saying nonsense, right? Siding with the sheriff and acting like I'm stupid. Oh, because they heard the sheriff on there say, oh, there, you haven't paid your bill in how many years? Which was a fucking lie. It was only a couple of months. Now, I'm not saying I should get away with that, right? But here's the problem. Sheriff Ingle's office acted against me to begin with. They were the cause of my problems. Their violations was the cause. I tried to handle it properly through court, and the whole court system bent me over. And that's the truth, and people don't want to see it. They want to act like, oh, well, this is the way it is. You're crazy for doing that stuff. That's not true, and it is true. The sheriff is held bound by the Constitution. But if we, the people, don't force him to be bound by it, he'll do whatever the hell he pleases, right? Because the rest of the officials in this county, Judge Smink, Prosecutor Morris Murray, who is a pedo, these guys protect each other, right? And then you try to go up above that and they say, oh, we're sorry, we can't do nothing about it. Ohio's, I forget the term right now, right? But that means no one's in charge of the sheriff except the people. Well, when the people stand up to do something about it, nobody fucking does nothing, right? So when you take matters into your own hands, when I take matters in my own hands, every one of these pieces of shit, they got nobody to blame for but themselves. You want to come after me for threats? Do it. Before you do so, you better fix my situation that you fucking broke. Right? Because that's just a fact. Okay, let's break this down a little further. First of all, the sheriff's office violated me to begin with. Caused me serious problems. Forced me to be homeless, all this shit. I've said that before, right? But then we go further, and as it drags out, there's a few steps I could have taken in other directions, but I had to do what I had to do. But as it drags out, these guys start violating me worse. I submit my complaint to the sheriff's office against his officers who violated me, and his answer is, I go up there on camera, and his answer is, well, we go through the law department. We submit it to the law department, and they let us know what to do. Wrong, right? This is what we don't understand, and people want to act like I'm crazy. Look, I spent a lot of time studying this stuff, and you can find other videos out there from people well-versed in it that will tell you how these things work, how the law actually works. I don't care about what you say is legal or illegal. I care what's lawful and unlawful. And the law is the Constitution, which holds all of them accountable. Okay? But when you can't go that way. When you, to show you the scope of the corruption, right? The sheriff gets out of his duties and gets off on screwing people over, even smirks about it in your face, Even though when you call him out, anyone wants to watch that video, and I need that video shared big time. A lot of people to see it. But when you do that, stay away from that. When you do that, okay, anyways, you watch that video and you can see his nervousness the whole time I'm calling him out on the shit, because he knows it's true. But why does he not care? Because he knows that these POSs in the court and in the prosecutor's office will continue to back him up. Why? Because it's one big corrupt thing that they're getting rich off of us. Right? Morris Murray, a sick PEDO. You can take that to the bank, right? He's got teenagers. Well, they're no longer teenagers now, but he's got people sitting in jail. He's busting teenagers all the time for doing stupid teenager shit, right? Meanwhile, he himself is watching videos of these teenagers doing stuff, right? How does that work, right? And then the sheriff comes to us and say, oh, well, we are going to, yeah, we took your complaint, but we submitted it to the law department and we do what they say. Okay, you don't understand the corruption there? That's not the sheriff's job to listen to a fucking prosecutor or a judge or anyone. It's the sheriff's job to say this is constitutional or not. I understand the Constitution. If it's against the Constitution, I have to do what's in favor of you, right? So as this stuff drags out, then they come to take my home, right? Well, as it turns out, the people that was pushing to take my home was Jason Baker from iLink Realty, right? And they come to this court and try to come at me. Well, I submitted my, and if I can find it, I'll show the screenshots. And people don't understand that this is the law, right? I'm not trying to get my house for free, but I'm not trying to lose it to somebody else to get it for free either, right? I was fighting this stuff properly through court. And I submitted my paperwork when they came at me. And I said, hold on now. If the bank is entitled to my house that you're trying to take from me, then they must show admissible evidence. Now, you can search out other people. One, I'll give a shout out to Yusavell. He talks about this stuff. And there are other people versed on this stuff that will tell you the facts. And the fact is that when you submit, okay, first of all, they submitted their thing against me with no proof of nothing. Right? They just said, oh, he owes us this money. So I submitted my answer back, and I said, with an affidavit, a sworn affidavit, which I was the only one with an affidavit. Well, number one, that means I'm the only one with any actual sworn testimony of the facts, right? Because of that, that means what I said is the facts, because they responded with an affidavit that says, I'm not a military person, a military affidavit. So what? That proves nothing, right? And I submitted my thing to the court with my affidavit, telling them what had happened and saying that if the bank wants to proceed further with this, they need to show admissible evidence. And I explained what that admissible evidence was. I went in detail. Now, what people don't understand is what is admissible evidence. You act like just because a lawyer comes up and a lawyer, a prosecutor, or cop, whoever, submits some evidence against you, and that's admissible evidence. And that's not the truth. Admissible evidence means something that is bound by the law to be facts. Okay? So when I tell them the bank needs to submit admissible evidence, that means they got to prove their right to that deed. Okay? They have to prove their right to that deed and how they obtained it. Okay? And they got to prove that I owe them that money. They don't get to just submit to them a copy of the billing statement that they've been sending me. That proves nothing. And this judge understands that. That's the law. Okay? By law, that bank was supposed to submit proof that they bought that loan and proof that they had the wet signature deed along with a valid mortgage. And they had none of those things, because people don't understand what happens when your loan starts getting sold. People don't understand how the people got the money for that house to begin with, how the bank got that money to begin with off your signature. Because here's what we don't understand. We were taken off the gold standard back in the early 1900s, right? You can look it up for yourself. The gold standard was The only sound currency we had, gold and silver. Well, they took us off of it and created paper money, the Federal Reserve, which is not a federal, nothing federal about it. It's a private banking industry, right? It's not the government. Well, we put people in the government to oversee it, but that's not how it is. Okay, they took us off the gold standard, which all that gold is us, the citizens. That gold in the ground belonged to us, right? So when they took us off the gold standard, they made us all slaves. And that's a fact. They made us slaves to the greenbacks. And people don't understand that, okay? And now, because of that, when you go to get your loan, you fill out the paper. They get that money off your signature, okay? Because that signature says you are a citizen of the United States, which means, that you are backed by that gold, or supposed to be, but that gold don't exist no more, right? Point being, that's how they got the money anyways to begin with. Anyways, I said submit admissible evidence, and they refused to. And this judge ignored it, Judge Joseph Smink. Not only did he ignore it, the orders they used to come take my house was never filled out by that judge. Those orders were filled out by a lawyer out of Cleveland, Ohio, that represents the bank. He filled out the order, and this judge put his signature on it. And I can prove that. I already did in a different video, okay? This judge did nothing but sit on his ass and ask the lawyers to tell him how to do his job, okay? He didn't judge it based on the law or based on the Constitution or based on my rights. All of us, citizens, people, humans, have rights over any corporation, okay? But some other lawyer prints out this order, sends it to the judge, and the judge says, yes, fellow rich man, I will sign that to protect my job, right? So you big banksters don't come after me, right? That makes you a POS scum who don't deserve to be a judge. But what about Judge Joseph Smink? Well, that guy was somehow in here while on house arrest for drugs, cocaine, and partying with young girls. He was on house arrest with a bracelet on his ankle monitor while judging people for those same crimes. Is that legal? Is that rightful? What do you people think? Tell me what you think about that. Okay, but that's a fact. That's who Judge Joseph Smink is. Okay, Morris Murray, they're all scum. Okay, and now they could have saved face, but they want to keep me over and continue doing so. Now let's move a little further. Then they come finally to take my house. I don't say finally, this happened only within a few months, okay? Look it up for yourself. Ask anyone you know that may have been involved in a foreclosure. Foreclosures don't take only a couple of months. They take a couple years usually, right? But they had me out, okay? Jason Baker goes and has his lawyer print up an order, send it to the court. The court says, oh yes, let me suck you off, right? And that's exactly what they did. And then ordered against me without any proof of anything, without any admissible evidence. And we don't understand. Admissible evidence is where it counts, okay? Me submitting my sworn affidavit is where it counts. I was the only one with a sworn testimony in there, and the court ignored it, okay? And then they say in that order to give a representative of the bank, not even a representative. It said that that the sheriff is there to keep peace while the bank, Nation Star, takes possession. Meanwhile, no member of that bank even showed up, and which is illegal. Instead, Jason Baker of I-Link Realty out of Swanton, Ohio, and I'll find your ass too, Jason. You fucking wait. You got my shit, bro. I'm gonna have those. I don't care. You want to say I'm you? I don't give a shit. First of all, they got to do something about your guys' crimes before they come after me. So fuck off, right? But here's how it is. Okay, so Jason Baker, so I go to the sheriffs and ask, what does keep the peace mean? Because you and I both know what keep the peace means. It means they're going to come and throw you in jail, hurt you, or kill you because you won't listen to them, right? Even though it's unlawful and illegal, right? But instead, Jason Baker shows up. Before he shows up, this sheriff knowingly knew what he was doing. They show up with tactical gear and everything else, helmets, guns, everything else, show up at gunpoint to rip me out of my house. The reason they did that is they had to have me off that property. Here's what else we don't understand. Possession. Possession is not who holds the deed. Possession is not any of that shit. Possession is not who holds the mortgage. Possession is who is in that property, who is on that property. And that was me, right? I had possession the whole time. That means you don't have a right to take possession from me. And the sheriff knows that. Okay? They don't have no right to hand it over to somebody else, especially somebody who's not the bank. And they knew that. So they showed up an hour beforehand to rip me out of my house. Because once they got me out of my house unlawfully, now they can say, no one's in possession, so we'll hand it over to this guy. And that's what they did. And this judge knows that that's illegal. Meantime, because of that, they took all of my property. Every ounce of my property. They got it. That's theft. That's theft. And none of them want to hold anyone accountable for it. That's theft of my personal property. I'm not talking about my house. I'm talking about all my property that was in that house. That's my property that the judge or no one else has any right to order anyone to have. And they know that. They had no right to tell me I couldn't leave with my property, but that's what they did. This is all illegal, and this is why I need support. If we don't get this shit shared out there, no one's ever going to know it, because they're making sure of it. All these corrupt pieces of shits, and that's what they are, and I don't care. They're scum. Okay, so they give all my property away, and to this day, now this is over a year that they've had my property, refuse to tell me where it's at. That's theft. And this sheriff, Doug Ingo, refuses to do anything about it. Why? Because they didn't like me standing up, so now they're going to fuck my life over. Well, your day is coming. Rest assured. Rest assured, Mr. Ingo, Mr. Murray, Mr. Smink. Fuck all you guys. I don't give a shit. Okay, you acted out of bounds of the law. That means you are illegitimate. That means the people of Defiance need to come together with some sense and remove these fucking people. And if necessary, put the gallows up right here and let's get the public going. I don't care if you like it or not. It's the truth and it is our right. You don't want to step in the bounds of the Constitution, either step the fuck out or make us come and get you by force. And we have that right. And people don't want to understand that. My life is because of them. But people don't want to understand that. The judge acted unlawfully. The sheriff acted unlawfully. The prosecutor acted unlawfully. And I called it out to their attention, to the prosecutor's office, before I lost my shit. To the prosecutor's office, to the judge, to the sheriff, and none of them want to do nothing about it. But my main thing is, one, we need your support on this shit. And two, I'm real tired of the people that want, and I know it's not my subscribers that do it, it's the other people that see the videos and don't subscribe, and they want to leave these stupid ass comments all the time. Like, oh, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about. You do, in fact. They have a right to take you from your house, and they do not. That's why it says on there, the sheriff will keep the peace. What keep the peace means is when they show up and find out that I am indeed in possession of that, then it is their job to tell Jason Baker, who showed up, to say, well, he's in possession and he's refusing to leave. In order to keep this peaceful, you, sir, are going to have to leave. Not me, but instead they made me leave and gave Jason Baker the rights to all of my property. But people don't want to understand that. They don't understand the law, and they want to act like they do just because you hear something on like Cops or whatever you hear on the TV. You don't understand the fucking law. I've studied this shit. I've studied it hard. I could go take, and if you want to pay for it, fine. I could go take the bar exam right now and outdo anyone in this town. I'm guaranteed. I understand the law. And what I'm saying is the facts, and they know it. And why they're trying to shut me up is because they know this is the facts. And they know, and this is happening all across this country, and they don't want any of us to understand our true rights, how powerful we actually are. So anyways, these are the facts. And those people who can't be kind enough to subscribe, share, or like, but want to come on with their stupid comments, either back up what you're saying or get off your ass and go look it up yourself. What I'm telling you is the facts. And these people are in big time violation of my constitutional rights. Okay? But the problem is, I'm teaching you how the law actually works. Ain't none of them here on your side. And I hate to say it, but the fact of the matter is, because I'm not black, because I'm not a transformer, because I don't fit in one of them kind of categories, there's no help. Right? Just no help. But had I been in one of them categories, there'd be people rushing to help me for my civil liberties. But, you know, middle-aged straight white men, you ain't got no civil liberties. And why? It's because we're all a bunch of scared-ass bitches who won't stand up and do something about it. Okay? And you can say, well, why don't you? Yeah, I've been standing up. You can't do it alone. You got to have the people who are ready to claim their power as the people to stand up. This whole community should be standing up on my side. And not just my side. There's other people here, and I've shown some of their stories and will continue to. And they're not going to shut me up. And I'm putting myself in danger for this shit. You think they don't pull some shit around here? Okay, we can tell you several bodies that come up gone because of their nonsense. So, but these are the facts, and we got to get something done about it. And we need to understand how this corruption works and what exactly all is corruption. And that's all we got for now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep all of his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. See ya.